Today in the episode, Special. All the things you can do with the Master. Voice of the Wasteland, where we answer your questions and find a cool piece of user-created content. And we begin with Workshop, a timeless classic of carnage and destruction. Buzzsaws. Ugh, the word brings back memories. Memories of many glorious battles, many victories, many fingers lost in various accidents. But then you take a look at all the equipment that you have in your garage and realize that the engineers of the Wastes made strides in developing new exciting ways to fight each other. Plasma cutters, advanced rocket launchers, frontal machine guns. Can a steel-toothed disc compete with all that equipment today? These concerns are certainly fair. Buzzsaws do have pretty big flaws. Maybe not as massive as Scar AB, but pretty big nonetheless. First, to use this weapon effectively, you need to be very well prepared. Buzzsaws require excellence. A well-built car with a fast, agile chassis, a fast cabin, a cloaking device, and maybe a tormentor is pretty much a must if you want to make a difference on the battlefield. The second, and probably the most important problem, is that there are a lot of other ways to cut, tear, pierce, and stab your opponents in the Wastes, and the Buzzsaw is not the most advanced tool on the market. In other words, if you use it, there's a certain limit to how high you can comfortably go. In most cases, it'd be a bad idea to go beyond a power score of 8,000. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and those dogs are also on fire. Not afraid? Thought so. Buzzsaw enthusiasts are many things, but they aren't easily scared. And for a good reason. These little discs of rage can disassemble an enemy vehicle in literal seconds, especially if you have a bunch of them. They're also sturdy enough to survive close engagements, and their innate resistances make them surprisingly durable. Some survivors even use buzzsaws instead of wheels on their cars. Well, we see no reason they shouldn't. Furthermore, the weapon's low energy consumption and very convenient form factor allow you to be really flexible with its placement. You can literally go wild with your vehicle's configuration, which is a rare privilege in the Wastes, where we often have to make sacrifices to make room for very big or unwieldy equipment. In combat, we're going to rely on a tactic taken straight from the rich arsenal of the lunatic strategic wisdom. Yep, you guessed it, we're gonna sneak up on our target and then ram them at full speed. If your car is equipped with a harpoon gun, it's a very good idea to have one, by the way, we latch onto our prey and start the feast. As a general rule, if you make it to the target in one piece, you can be pretty sure that they'll be on the fast track to an urgent meeting with their ancestors. And even if we fail spectacularly, still at least damaged beyond repair. And that's usually how it works. But there is a big but. Allies. Both our own, because sometimes they'll just inexplicably push our prey out of our reach, and also players on the enemy's side, because they have that nasty habit of showering us with lead at the most inconvenient of times. That's why we suggest that you should prioritize solo targets, or enemies that are hiding in the back line. Or, if you're very confident in your build and your abilities, go for the cars that are the biggest threat for your team, and let the carnage begin. And now, a short commercial break.
Tired of being the slowest car in the raid? Say no to pain and shame. Just ditch the wheels altogether. No one says you're slow if you're just a turret.
Relatively recently, the crazy mechanics of the Wastes discovered a cool new toy. The Master. Just to be clear, we're not talking about Master Jack. This is about a legendary cabin that can fix everything except for broken hearts. And believe us, we've tried. Naturally, it's the unique ability of the cabin to repair parts around it that's a primary draw for many people using it for their cars. But, judging by the designs submitted to the exhibition, quite a lot of engineers also appreciated the form factor of the Master, allowing for all sorts of cool builds and experiments. For example, just look at this amazing vehicle, Mega Wall-E, designed by Superball, who is one of our regulars, by the way. A very talented engineer, 100%. At first glance, this is a car that sits around 7,000 PS at most, right? It's just too small to be any higher. Wrong. It has a power score of more than 12,000. It's also surprisingly stable for a build with only 2 tracks. Obviously, it can't take a hit, but what it can do is show how compact a master build can be if you're really clever about it. Is this as far as we can go, though? Not even close. The next showpiece is not really a car. This thing certainly shares more DNA with a surfboard than a truck. Say hi to Nevalyashka, created by Ophelia 7. Only 10 parts, and almost limitless opportunities for quality entertainment in and out of combat. Try it. Take the Nevalyashka for a ride. Remember to drive it as a sideways vehicle, and marvel at all the stunts you can do with it. Can you name any other cabin that could do the same? That's what we thought. Then, belching smoke and clunking and clanging, there is this car coming into the frame. Shell Shock, designed by Sandtrap 19028. This vehicle shows the third area that the Master excels at, making cool, immersive builds. If you want to go for a ride around your favorite part of the Wastes, Shell Shock is simply perfect. That's not to say that there aren't many crafts that explore the limits of the new repair mechanic. On the contrary, some Wasteland engineers even claim that their builds using the Master can easily outlive most of their opponents. Obviously, at this point, it's way too early to make any far-reaching conclusions about the overall combat efficiency of builds that are optimized for this mechanic, but survivors have already made quite a lot of interesting designs of this type. For instance, take a look at the vehicle called Armor Repair Meta, designed by an engineer with a cool name that we're not really sure how to pronounce correctly. Nice weapon placement. There are some really sturdy parts in there. Is it immortal though? No. But in a one-on-one situation against a regular opponent, it can soak enough damage to make the fight pretty trivial, allowing you to try out things and tactics that would simply be too dangerous otherwise. Speaking of trying new things out, doesn't seem fair that it's always giving you all sorts of missions and challenges. Let us remind you that you can also suggest engineering puzzles and crazy challenges for us in the comments below, and we'll do our best to do them. Oh my Otagon, remember the time we brought chords to 11,000 PS battles? Oof. Anyway, looking forward to your insane ideas. The first message was submitted by a raider known as Freakus. Could you make a new heavy cabin because they kind of feel left out? Hey Freakus, can't tell you much right now, but there will be a pleasant surprise for you very soon. Cornelius Stradivarius asks, can we have a dual fusion creator mode, please? What I mean is so one player can work on 2 or more rigs to combine into a fusion in their own garage by themselves. Load your main part first, then select which other rigs you want to combine to load those in after. It's a pain to have to wait for a friend to log on to get problematic elements fixed. Hi, Cornelius. You're absolutely right that the current way of doing it is a bit unwieldy. We are considering a few different ways to make the process more convenient, and your solution certainly sounds interesting. From the technical standpoint, though, it's a feature that'll be pretty difficult to implement the way that you described it. We'll see what we can do. Then there's this question sent by PsychoDragon24. Is there by any chance any new engines being added to the game? Most preferably the ones that benefit from actively moving or drifting. Greetings, Survivor. Not in the nearest future, but we're working on a few. Finally, there's this completely serious message from Gherkin Pudding. They say, Wednesday praying for Otagon? No, Wednesday is frog. What? Burn the heretic! And now it's the final part of the garage, where we show you a nice ride or a cool range straight from the exhibition. Today we decided to go with a car that is great for fighting against AI and its endless ways of robotic minions. It's all in the name, by the way. It's called PvE Ex Machina. Take it and have fun. Simple as that. A great pick if you want to style on local Terminators. Aatrox, that's a really nice build you have there. Thanks. And that's it for today. Tell us what you think in the comments below, ask us questions, and after we return from our crusade against AI, we'll return with new, crazy content in a couple of weeks. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing, leave a like, and good luck.